Right then guys, we'll jump into the next part. So we're going to carry on with training. Just how we approach the sort of the week leading up to competition. How many of you feel a bit shitty and sluggish after not training? Yeah? Yeah, so if we take the same approach to how we go into a competition, there's no reason to actually stop training or stop moving, we just modify that. So if we were to take a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so here is your comp, right? Depending on the workouts that week, obviously, maybe you go to a different gym or you train alone, but we release workouts the week before. So Thursday or Friday, our class workouts will be up for you to see. Right, so you know there's no real problem with you training to either Tuesday or Wednesday. So this should be training as usual. If it's like heavy thrusters and you think fuck that, like you always do all of the time, then obviously we sack Wednesday off. Yeah? But that up to Tuesday to Wednesday, we can train as usual. You'd usually include a rest day, so one of your rest days would fall either on Wednesday or Thursday. And your rest can be active recovery or complete rest, depending on whatever you do. So don't, exactly the same as nutrition, don't change it too much from the norm. If you usually rest on a Thursday, but you think, do you know what, I feel really good, I'm going to go do weightlifting on a Thursday. Don't do weightlifting on a Thursday. Yeah?
Will you be programming to like lead up to?
Will I be programming to lead up? No. Box programming will remain the same as normal. Yeah. Because there's obviously guys that aren't competing. So yeah, it'll be exactly the same. But the usual stuff will be up. So all the engine, all the accessory work. Will also, Bonnie also obviously does her yoga and Pilates, that sort of stuff. So nice forms of active recovery or restorative exercise, swimming, yoga, Pilates, really, really good stuff. We obviously do our stuff online. If you go and do yoga elsewhere, then go do yoga or Pilates elsewhere, it's awesome. If you've got a mobility flow that you do, that sort of stuff on these rest or recovery days, that's the sort of stuff you do. Walking the dog, yeah, usual stuff, going for a cycle outdoors, not going balls out, like a nice gentle cycle, the kind of people do it for fun. Anyone aware of that? No? No. What's fun? This is fun. Okay. And then I would probably come in, I know it sounds really silly, but doing one of our engine workouts or an engine workout at about sort of 70 to 80% intensity, purely because you're going to normally train. If you come Monday to Friday, you're normally training these days anyway. And then when you stop, you feel like dog shit. So if you've trained Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursdays, okay, do you know what, I'm going to take this rest, actually getting in and doing some movement is going to be fine. If you just on the CV kit, you're not going to feel too sore. It's going to keep you moving and makes you finish off with a little bit more mobility than you perhaps would do. So that would be some as opposed to none. Yeah? Cool.
What would your first sprint days consist of? So would you do
In terms of
CrossFit on a Monday, a weightlifting on Tuesday?
So yeah, just normal, whatever your normal training is.
Okay.
Like there's no reason to change these couple of days.
Would you try and mix it up though? So like do like a weightlifting instead of all CrossFit every day?
No, it doesn't really matter. Personally, I wouldn't.
Okay.
I continue to train Monday, Tuesday. In the past, whenever I've done competitions, I've done Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I've probably done some engine work Thursday, and then I've done mobility Friday.
Okay.
Me personally.
With a comp coming up, do you normally know what your workout will be that week before?
Some comps release them. Battle for the Midlands, we may be releasing a couple of workouts, but the chances are we probably won't be releasing them until the day before.
No specific training potentially.
Yeah. Like if you can always go with competitions. You always know they're going to be slightly leg heavy. They're going to be leg and shoulder heavy. That's CrossFit in general. But then you've also got 3 to 6 intense workouts either over a day or a weekend, which are leg and shoulder heavy. So the chances are, if you see a heavy leg day, probably better to avoid a heavy leg day as a guide rather than sort of go to normal. Yes, so open workouts will be done on a Friday, all the way through class. we'll send an email out about that next week. Yes. Okay. So yeah, everyone. Does that make sense to everyone? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sweet. Wonderful. In terms of intensity as well, you shouldn't ease off on these days in terms of intensity. You should still be able to hold a relatively high intensity on those days, except if it's going to obviously like heavy leg day in terms of like 1 rep max squat, but I'm not going to be a dick and post a 1 rep max squat the week leading up to it. Maybe. We'll see. Okay? But there's your training.
So that's just the week.
That's the week before. Yeah, that's the week before. Week after, I would probably have, if you feel super sore, rest on Monday. But try and get moving as best you can. Even if it's like going for a walk, going for a cycle, going swimming, doing some sort of movement is going to be better than sitting on the couch and eating. Do that after the movement.
How is it best to split out your weaknesses? Like,
Absolutely.
if you're leading up to the competition,
Yeah.
like, is it best to do like a block of 2 or 3 weaknesses leading up to it?
It's,
like 5-6 weeks beforehand, start building stuff up to your week long?
It depends on, entirely
50
depends.
weaknesses.
Like if you, we'll touch on this a little bit later when it comes to energy systems. But from now up until Battle for the Midlands, for example, which we're just under 5 weeks, yeah. I would be looking at accumulation of volume of certain skills. If you don't have certain skills, I'll be looking at trying to refine or acquire those skills. It's probably a best bet, and then I'll also be looking at engine work. Now is not the time to be in a strength cycle. Be in a strength cycle. Okay, no, don't. Strength cycle, yeah, lift, yeah. Yes, so all requirements are ground to overhead of 50 kilos for men, 35 kilos for ladies. Okay. Warm-ups. So, right, when I said off you go, what do you do? Yeah, everyone sort of stood there a little bit unsure of what to do, how to warm up. Fair to say, most, or say 85% of people. Some people have done a little bit of stuff before, know what they're doing, because that's news to us. Greg and I have no idea what we're doing, so it's fair. Warm-ups. Basic warm-ups, we always follow something called ramp. In various forms, ramp. So ramp, raise, activate, mobilize, and potentiate. Big word. So raise is just essentially raising your heart rate, whatever form this may be. A good warm-up is probably going to last between 5 to 15 minutes, depending on what the next workout is. I would always be looking towards, especially a competition, at least 10 minutes. 10 minutes is probably going to be the amount of time you're going to get in the warm-up area as well, because if you're running in heats, we run heats, so heat 1, go and warm up. Heats 1 and 2 go and warm up, sorry. Heat 1 come in, heat 3 go into warm-up area. So there'll always be 2 warm-ups there. Might get 20 minutes depending on the length of the workout. Okay, but anywhere between there, 5 minutes is always going to be better than nothing. Raise, so this is where we're looking to do some sort of CV stuff. Just getting on a bike, rower, ski erg, and just getting your heart rate up a little bit. Nothing too intense at the minute, just elevating it above the norm. Then go to activate, which is compound movements. So nice compound movements, a nice little circuit of some squats, lunges would suffice, and then mobilize. This is where we focus on areas that's more specific to the workout. So we've already mentioned shoulders and legs. So shoulders, hips, and thoracic spine are going to be 3 areas that are key to mobilizing in any competition. Okay, 100%. If you just did a warm-up surrounding those 3 areas, you'll be golden. Okay. So what I'm going to put on the board now is a nice suggested warm-up for those of you that just want something that goes, excellent, I can apply it to that will last you between 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so 3 rounds. So you've done your CV stuff. Okay, say 3 minutes there. You're then going to do 3 rounds of 10 air squats. That's an awful, not sure that's an A or a B. 10 lunges, and these can either be with a rotation or an overhead reach. And then 5 walkouts. So big compound movements. We've got a squat, we've got a lunge, and we've got a hinge. Yeah? Everybody happy with that so far? All movements we all do in the warm-ups in classes. Yeah, excellent. Then go to mobilize. So 3 movements. I highly, highly suggest you invest in a red band. They are about £8 off of Amazon, and they are worth their weight in gold. So.
You can buy them on
They are cheaper than £8, and they may be here in time for Battle of the Midlands. No, but we do get some money back. Okay? Mobilizing. So you're going to get the first one. So it's a hybrid of a band dislocation and a pull apart. So that's where we're going to hold a band, go over the top, and then come back to shoulder height and do a pull apart. Yeah? Just imagine it. Okay? Keep the rib cage down, don't flare it, so you're cheating the mobility aspect of that movement. You're then going to go to 10 shin boxes. We've all done it. And so it's again another hybrid movement of 10 downward dog with a mountain climber and rotation. So shin box, down in this position here. Yeah. Okay, if you want to increase that, come up, push hips through. Okay. Mountain, downward dog, mountain climber with rotation. So I'm going to push back, chest through to the floor, step forward, and up, and switch sides. Okay. Depending on time, if once through that's enough and you feel good, once, then you can go through it 2 or 3 more times if you would like. Okay. If you did that as a generic warm-up, again, that will take you between 3 to 10 minutes if you're going to just do your CV stuff, because they're just going to go on a row and you're going to go full send. Sweet. Then maybe a 2K row in Battle of the Midlands, who knows? With a shitload of burpees. Over the rower. Over the rower. Synchro. Whilst they put it together.
She'll actually get
Be funny. Okay, so that there is a generic warm-up, right? If you literally just copy that, sweet, you'll be absolutely fine. You'll start to feel a little bit looser. We then go into our potentiates. So this is where we elevate the intensity a little bit more. This is also where we can start to get a bit more specific. There we go. Specific intensity raising movements is what I've written. So where we've gone into our 1 rep max snatch, we raise the intensity by increasing the weight on the bar. Okay? If you were going to go into those thrusters and burpees, how many of you went straight into that cold? How many of you honestly did any burpees over the bar before warming up? Yeah? Pardon? We'll come to that in a minute. Don't you worry. Okay? So yeah, when we go to, so that's where we can start to look at increasing the weight on the bar, increasing the intensity, so actually going through the movements in the workout if you can. If there's no pull-up bars, then going through a little bit of hollow work or gymnastic work, V-sits, going through some pull-up stuff. So again, going through that kipping motion with the band can help if you don't have any bars available. Most good warm-up areas will have some pull-up bars available to you. Yeah? Sweet. Use the workout, for example, I've written. Good thinking, Jamie. So, 1 rep max snatch, exactly the same. We're going to warm up there. You've got plenty of time to warm that up and go through and build some volume and intensity to that. I would always look at hitting, we'll come through this in tactics and strategy in a little bit, but looking to hit about 80 to 90% of a current rep max if you know it. So you've got a good weight on the bar, you build a little confidence. You don't want to be going for a PB in the warm-up, because if you fail it, you're just going to walk into that workout feeling a little bit shit. You always want to leave that with a good lift. Okay, making sure that's confident. You're then going to open at a little bit below that weight. Okay, because the chances are from moving to the warm-up to the workout area, you've got a little bit of nerves, but also you've cooled down a little bit. So when we walk between the two, open a little bit below that weight, and then we go from there. I'll go through how we look at that a little bit later. Thrusters and burpees over the bar. You don't necessarily want to work at that weight, that's fine. Do a couple of rounds of maybe 4 and 4 with an empty barbell at workout pace. Because the chances are you're going to warm up your shoulders with something like this, that's fine, but making sure you've warmed up that movement pattern and getting your heart rate elevated to that is going to be good. I would always, in something like this, regardless of what this is, I would always do this with an empty bar before I go into my snatch. Okay? It's another way of making sure you're nice and mobilized before you get stuck into a heavy lift. Yeah? Sweet. Wonderful. And then cool down. Sorry, did everyone get that written down? Yes, excellent, good. 3 to 5 minutes of a cool down. Especially on a competition, super important to cool down. This can be as little as going and getting back onto a bit of CV kit if you can. If you've got access to it, obviously if they're just letting people warm up, then you won't have access to it. So then we go straight into a couple of stretches. Pick a couple of stretches, again, hips, shoulders or thoracic, 1 stretch for each, and then hold it for between 30 to 60 seconds, however long time allows, and as soon as you can. If you've got mates on in the next heat, cheer for them, go nuts for those guys, and then cool down. But make sure you do some form of cool down where you just start to reduce the volume of sort of lactic acid in your legs or in your body. You bring your heart rate down, you start to calm down your nervous system. What you might find throughout the day, we'll cover it again. Ooh, Jamie's going to chat shit for a bit longer. Is we go through sort of peaks and flows in how our body reacts to stress. So our adrenaline is going to be firing pretty much all day, and you're not. It's another reason. I'll speak to Matt. It might impact the amount of volume of food you can actually eat after the day. You might think, oh fucking hell, I'm starving, but because you've been all over the place with your adrenaline, that can impact your ability to digest food or how much food you want to take on. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, make sure you cool down. 2 stretches, just something to get moving. Even if it's a little, once you've seen your guys compete, go for a walk around the block. Just doing a little bit of movement to cool down. It will make you feel better and make it easier to warm up for the next bit. If you go from one workout without warming up, stopping straight after, and then you've got, we've got a rep max, here we go, and you go straight into it again, not speaking from experience, it sucks like a bag of shit. Yeah? Okay, so we want to try and warm up and cool down as best as possible. It will help with our nervous system as well. Right, workout strategy. Where are we? There we are, sweet. Just strategy.
No.
Strategy.
That's right.
I lift heavy things, yeah? Leave me alone, okay? And catch. Right. CrossFit is a majority aerobic sport. Yeah? Does everyone know what I mean by aerobic?
High intensity.
No.
Gassy.
Aerobic means producing energy in the presence of oxygen. So we have 3 energy systems. You've got your energy system 1, so your ATP, PC. It's your phosphocreatine system. It also can be referred to as your anaerobic alactic system. So this is 1 rep max stuff. This is short, sharp, high intensity stuff, less than 10 seconds. Very rarely do we see this in CrossFit unless it's the sort of thing like a 1 rep max. There is no other real example. Something like perhaps like a heavy sled push, or lighter, faster sled push, not 140 kilos. It's fine, it's okay. Fun? What? Okay, so this is 10 seconds or less. For some of you, sex. Okay? You guys okay? I feel like that's a laugh of knowing. Okay, second one, your anaerobic. This is 10 to 90 seconds. Okay? This is producing energy without oxygen. So that doesn't use oxygen, but that uses something called creatine or phosphocreatine to produce energy. So when people supplement creatine, this can also help. And one of the reasons that it is a strength-based energy system or strength explosive power. Yada, yada, yada. Anaerobic, 10 to 90 seconds. So this is something like a 500 meter row, max F 400 meter run. That sort of real fuck, lungs are burning, legs are firing up. That's where we are, okay? That's gonna be close to the first round of that workout. So the second you got up from that set of 12 burpees, you got up and you were like, holy fuck, okay? Yeah, it's quite close to it, yeah? So this is when your body can't utilize oxygen fast enough, or you're doing something like a super, super high intensity 500 max effort 500 meter row, where you literally can't produce oxygen fast, if you can't produce energy fast enough, using oxygen. So you then get a byproduct of lactic acid, and that's then that burning feeling that you get. This then produces an oxygen debt, which is why you then, once you finish that workout, you lie there and you suddenly, your breathing rate is super, super high, your heart rate is super high, because the body is trying to pump oxygenated blood back to those muscles to clear that lactic acid and replenish that oxygen debt. Okay? The way we train this is with lactic threshold training. It's not something you really need to do again, but especially in competition, it's very rare that you will see these sorts of workouts. If it is, it's going to be in a you go, I go format, where it's super, super short reps. Okay? You looking at me? Just looking at me. Okay, cool. So where you've got a movement and then a movement like those who did comp training last night, where the toes to bar row wall balls. So you're working for sort of 20 to 30 seconds. So you're not going to accumulate a massive oxygen debt, because this can go up to 90 seconds, this energy system. Okay? But it's enough to know that as you get sort of 6, 7, 8 minutes deep into that workout, things start to burn a little bit. Yeah? Cool. Lactic threshold training, you want to be looking at work to rest intervals of 1 to 1 or 1 to 2. So your work will be, say, 1 minute, and then you can look for 1 to 1 work to rest, or 1 minute to 2 minute if you're at that sort of longer duration. So anything up to 90 seconds. If I was going to do a max effort sprint for 90 seconds, be looking, or lactic threshold, be looking to do at least 3 minutes rest before I do another set. Yeah, that can increase further if you're looking. Sounds silly, but sort of 15 seconds max effort sprint. So if any of you do a max effort sprint on the Echo bike, you know about it when we did the shots and the mince pies, that dodgy shit, yeah?
When you put the feet on.
Pardon?
When you put the feet
I love that that's the worst bit of the workout for you. Took the fucking seats off the Echo Bike. Yeah? Okay, 20 to 20 seconds hard, intense sprint on the Echo Bike. You're going to need longer to recover. Okay, same as with you're trying to hold that sort of intensity for longer as well. We might need to increase that rest period even longer. Again, that varies person to person, the intensity you're also holding. We then go into aerobic. So this, 90 seconds or more, and this is where the majority of workouts will lie. You will very rarely see this in an individual workout. You will either do a 1 rep max or anything over 90 seconds, unless you're super fast at thrusts and burpees. Yeah? Okay? So these sorts of workouts are going to be AMRAPs, chippers, AMRAPs, chippers, are going to be more aerobic. You-go-I-go stuff is going to be anaerobic, unless they're interval-based workouts again, which we bring that down. So it's going to be shorter, sharper working intervals. We can increase, so you asked earlier about what can you be doing now to improve or increase or just get better for competition. Engine work. The better you are able to utilize and transport oxygenated blood around the body, the better your chances are at holding higher skill elements in workouts. If you're blowing out your hoop as you go to a set of toes to bar, you stare at that bar for a very long time, right? Yeah? Fuck. Okay, so we want to be able to have a good engine or have greater aerobic capacity. We do that by doing longer duration, lower heart rate stuff. Engine work, those 30 to 40 minute EMOMs that I've been putting up since January. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge team. Yeah? Stuff like that's on there. You should be able to sustain a lower heart rate. We want to be looking at 50 to 70% of your heart rate, something you can maintain a conversation at. You'll probably feel a little bit breathless. If you're doing Mikko's triangle, then that might be different. Okay? So, like I say, unless it's a you-go-I-go and you're in a partner, you're very unlikely to see an anaerobic type workout in an individual competition. The greater likelihood is you're going to be burning up because your ability to transport oxygen or your engine is a little bit shit, especially on newer movements where you're inefficient. We'll talk about efficiency over movements in a minute, but yeah, where movements suck. So workouts will typically be between 6 to 12 minutes long. You've got two parties like that where we're going to have higher intensity piece with something from our first energy system as well, so a max effort list or a max effort complex. Yeah? Any questions on that?
What's a chipper?
Chipper, we'll go through workout styles in a second, but a chipper is basically just working through a series of movements for time.
What would you suggest is the best bit of equipment to use to get your engine?
For ease, a bike. Yeah, just because there is no a Concept 2 bike, because there is no there's no requirement for technique. I mean, if you're learning how to ride a bike, though, you can't really go wrong with something that's static and stationary. Yeah, I mean, you can go wrong, but yeah, purely because if you're inefficient at rowing or skiing, then you're not gonna get the most bang for your buck. So using a Concept 2 bike is probably going to be the best thing to use, just if you want to get in and get some shit done. Yeah? Okay. Any other questions? Wonderful. Right. So, how to approach workouts. So you went through, chipper is where we've got 6 movements, and you've got 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10 reps. You've just got to chip away through and get through those for time. Okay? AMRAP would be as many rounds of reps as possible. So that could be exactly the same, 60 down to 10, but instead of that being for time, you've got 10 minutes to complete as many rounds through that as possible. Okay. They're likely to be bigger numbers, so you want to be looking at unbroken stuff if you, or as close to unbroken if your heart rate isn't sacrificed. So rather than doing like really fast sets, so say, let's go for example, the one Jamal did, 40, 30, 20, 10, box step overs, it was dumbbells, wasn't it?
Worst workout.
I enjoyed it. And then 50 dubs in between. Okay? You want to be moving at a nice steady pace. There's no prizes for going out super hot in this first round. If you go out super hot, you are going to pay for it. Exactly the same, you want to keep the heart rate down to an aerobic level so we're still able to maintain a nice steady intensity at which if you needed to break, you could put the dumbbells down, step away, then come back in and pick it back up. Yeah? Yeah, move at a pace that is there. If you are likely to break something, it's probably going to be more of a gymnastic movement or double unders. If it's a barbell movement, you're going to be doing them as fast singles, unless it's a super lighter barbell. Yeah? But gymnastics movement or double unders, we want to break those and break them earlier than you think. So if you've done, again, a gymnastics movement, we want to be looking at our heart rate. Everyone knows the term redlining, right? Yeah? Redlining, everyone's understood it? Yeah? Excellent. What we want to see in a workout is where we maintain a nice steady heart rate. So where we just start to continue and then we need to rest and break stuff. So we continue along that sort of undulating heart rate. Ooh, another good word. Didn't realise I knew these words. Okay. Whereas what you can do is if we start doing this and then you think, fuck yeah, I'm halfway through, yeah, here we go. Yeah? Big mistake. Yeah, because you're not going to be able to recover from that. That's where we're going to start to move into our next energy system, where you're going to start to accumulate that oxygen debt, and all of a sudden, you drop off. Okay? So your heart rate stays up there and performance drops. Okay? We want to avoid that. We want to be moving at a nice steady pace through those AMRAPs and chippers, particularly longer chippers. If it's shorter, then we can start to push the pace a little bit, but again, that's where we start to understand our own strengths and where that lies. Okay. As we get towards the end of the workout, so if it's an AMRAP and they say 90 seconds to go, if you can afford to, or if you've got the energy to, hopefully you have done because you've paced it correctly and we've stayed in that aerobic energy system. With the last 90 seconds to go, we can start to pick the pace up a little bit. That's where the sets start to get slightly bigger. The rest times, if you're on a gymnastics movement, start to get a little bit smaller. Yeah? Sweet. Any questions on chippers and AMRAPs? Right, excellent. Rounds for time. Rounds for time are always super, super fun. Because us as coaches go, yeah, let's fucking win the workout. And we just go bye-bye to everyone and they go super hot. Okay? On 3 rounds for time, that is fine. Generally, okay, 3 rounds for time, anything there is a slightly faster workout, regardless of the numbers involved. When you get to 5 rounds for time, do not go out too hot. That's a trap. Okay? Pace yourself until round 4. And then start to pick the pace up. If it's gymnastics, similar to, like I said, we've gone with chips and AMRAPs, we don't want to redline. We want to maintain a nice steady pace. Break the numbers before you think. Exactly the same as we look at that performance curve, we want to break them before our heart rate gets too high. Okay?
You might not do that on the 3 rounds for time.
3 rounds for time, no. 3 rounds, you want to try and push the reps a little bit more, unless it's a movement that you particularly struggle with. So toes to bar, for example, if that workout is, I don't know, 21 cal row, 15 toes to bar, and then 9 deadlift. For some people, 15 toes to bar isn't a problem. For some people, 15 toes to bar is quite a big volume, so actually what you're going to do is do that in 5 sets of 3. Because what that does, it maintains a nice short break and prevents form from breaking down. If you think, actually, you know what, I can do 15 in 3 sets of 5, don't do 3 sets of 5. Go the other way. It's always easier to maintain that rhythm, especially under fatigue, in something like that where your midline's been taxed and your grip as well on the row and the deadlift. Breaking it into smaller sets is going to be far better than going for slightly smaller, bigger sets. Does that make sense? Yeah.
So if you think you could do 15 outright, would you then do 3 sets of 5 then?
If you could do 15 outright, I'd be looking to break that at halfway.
Okay.
Yeah, 8 and 7. However, if you feel like you're a competent gymnast, that workout there, that's a go, and you use the row to recover. Because that row realistically is going to take someone about a minute. Okay? So that row there, we can actually slow down a little bit to 1 minute and 10, where we need to the first 2 rounds. And then push the tempo on these 2 to get back to the row and use that to recover a little bit more. Okay? Wonderful. The last round, however, is always full send. 1, 3, 5, 10. If you're sat there looking at the bar, just pick the fucking thing up and get the work done, because that last round needs to go. Yeah? Excellent. Good. Pardon? Just go. Just full send. That's it. 1 rep max stuff or complex stuff, guys. So unless it's like an EMOM style where you build in weight each round, so you've got a lift, and if you miss that lift in that minute, you're done. Sorry, I jumped ahead of myself. Warm up. When we warm up reps, I've already mentioned warming up to 80 to 90% of your current rep max. If it's a complex, you probably want to choose the most challenging movement in that complex and warm up to 80 to 90% of that movement, because that's going to be your limiting factor. If your clean is 100 kilos but your jerk is only 70, there's no point going, fuck it, yeah, let's warm up to 100 kilo clean, yeah, because that's never going to go overhead. You warm up to 80 to 90% of your jerk, because that's the most challenging movement in that complex. So hit a complex or a 1 rep max there, or a rep max at that percentage, and in that 5 minute window, I would be looking to do no more than 3 lifts. How many of you did more than 3 lifts in that workout earlier? Honestly? Yeah? 3, maybe 4 at a push, but you should be looking at 1 at 5, sort of around 5% less than your warm-up rep, then 1 that's close to just under your PB, and then I'd be looking at 1 just over your PB. Obviously, if you hit the 1 just below your PB. Or you can just go, fuck it, load all the weight on the bar and go, your adrenaline is a massive driver in stuff like this. When you've got people shouting at you, you've got barbells clanging, it's an awesome atmosphere to be around. So very often, what you'll find is you will hit a PB. If I ever see any of you loading your PB onto a bar, training or a competition, I will hit you. Okay? Never, ever load your PB onto a bar. Always add, like, you will have 1.25, is that 0.5? Yeah, and you'll have either kilo plates or 0.5 kilo change plates there. Always load that up, okay? Because you're hitting the same way. There's a lot wrong with that. Mentally, if you could, like, there's going into a competition, if you can, that's a lot of wasted effort for an equal PB. So you've got this one here as a banker, this one to then sort of get close to it, and then you go over because you're building confidence. Yeah, you should never ever go in with a PB on that. Okay, sweet. If you've got time in that window and it feels good, that was easy, that was clean, have another go. But in that sort of workout, there'd be no rush to get more than 3 done if you follow that sort of structure.
If you fail the second one, then how many would you look to do? If you
Go again on
fail
that.
second one, would
Go
you-
again on that. You've already got a banker. Yeah, you've already got that. So that's why we warm up over and then go back down. So you hit that banker, you're confident with that. Chances are you will hit that. It may be a little bit ropey, but the only reason you will fail that is because your technique is then shifted. It's not a strength issue because you've already gone above that. You've got adrenaline on the day as well.
In regards to timing, then, just in case you do miss that second one, should you give yourself enough time just to have 2 more goes if you mess it up?
I'd still go with that and wouldn't change anything because that then impacts the second bit. Because if you don't want to rush that second lift, because if you fail that again, although we'll come to it in a bit about how you approach the day and manage nerves, that will impact your mindset going into the next workout. Yeah. Okay. Any questions on rep max or complex stuff? Sweet. For time, so this is could be similar to a chipper, it could just be a 2K row for time. Only break if you need to, or if there's a form breakdown. So if it's something like brace, for example, 30 clean and jerks for time. Treat that as fast singles, or break that if there's a form breakdown. If you can hold on for 30 clean and jerks for time, sweet. Do it. Yeah. That again is a very short, sharp workout. You don't really want to be breaking unless you have to with stuff like that. If it's again 2K row, that's going to be approached very differently, or a 5K row, very differently. But you're not going to break that movement. Yeah? Carry, again, break it if you have to. 150 more. Fine. So, something that a lot of you probably, if you've never competed before, won't have come up against would be nerves. Nerves are good. A little bit of nerves are good. It means that you actually care. If you're going into it and you're walking into it with no nerves, you are going to get knocked down very, very quickly. Not just by yourself, because your performance won't be as good as it could be, but also by other people, because they'll call you a cunt. Yeah, it's fair. It happens. Like competitions are super friendly. It's a nice battle for the Midlands. It's super friendly. It's a nice competition to do. We enjoy ourselves. Everyone else is there for a bit of fun. You get the guys who a couple might take it super seriously, but there's no one there that is bigger than they think they are. Go in and enjoy yourself and be nice to people, but nerves are good. How can we control our nerves? Realistically, we can't. But what we can do is control controllables. So stuff like our warm-up. We can go through our nutrition leading up to the day, making sure that's on point, making sure we've had enough sleep and hydrated well. Okay. All of those things we can control. There's no reason why any of that should change. We can control that up to the day, and including the day. Some of you might have a couple of nervous boops. That's fine. That you can't control. Just do it in the right places. There is no point looking at the leaderboard. There is 0 point looking at the leaderboard until the end of the day. As long as you've given your all to the workout you've just done, nothing you can do now is going to change that. So looking at the leaderboard, you're just going to start to worry about, oh, these other people did that. These other people got 10 kilos more than me. And there is exactly fuck all you can do. So looking at the leaderboard isn't really going to help. You look at the leaderboard at Battle for the Midlands, we keep using that as an example, the end of day 1, because you'll then get your seeding results for day 2. And then you know, oh, actually I'm towards the top of trophy category, so if I have a good day tomorrow, might be in the final. But then at the same time, that's still going to be announced at the end of the day. So you don't really need to worry about it. If you focus on your warm-up, your cool-down, your nutrition in between the workouts, that's going to be far better for you managing your nerves than going, oh, I've got to get 50 points in this next workout. Don't do that. Okay? It's not necessarily nerve related, but I'll put it in there. When you are competing, to actually stand back and take stock, because not a lot of people get the chance to experience it. I know we're a very small community, we're very cult-like in CrossFit, and you go to different competitions and it seems like everyone competes. You speak to people, everyone competes, but actually they don't. Competing is an awesome experience, it's a really, really fun experience, and especially when you get to compete with a friend or someone who you've actually met through CrossFit, or you're going up against people that you've gone to other boxes. People don't get that experience. It's really, really fucking awesome. You get 24 people on the gym floor, you get a load of people shouting at you. They've never met you, but they want you to do your best. Like, just stand back and actually enjoy it, because sometimes that might be the only competition you do, because of whatever reason. So yeah, make sure you actually step back and enjoy it. Otherwise, it's just one of those missed opportunities. Yeah, sweet. Right, we'll race through this next one. I think this is pretty much the last bit. I will promise I'm nearly done. Yes. Right, when you load plates, something like this, if you know you've got an RX weight, so that RX weight there was 45 kilos for men. First thing I'm going to load onto the bar is a 10 kilo plate. Okay, 20 kilo bar, 10 kilo plates. That means I don't have to unload the entire bar. Yeah. So when you're loading bars, know your working weight for the next bit, and hopefully you should be looking at a weight that's above your working weight for that set. So stick that plate on first. Then when you're unloading, get one of the incrementals, slide it under that last plate, and then you can just jack all the other stuff off. Just throw it all off of the bar, leaving that 10 kilo bar on the plate. I can absolutely can. No? No, fine. Okay, then you put the remaining weights on, and then when you load your bars, especially with barbell cycling workouts, put these parts of the clips against the plate. If you load it this way, you're going to spend forever. When you keep dropping the bar, that plate's going to start to move out and start to take time up in the workout. Load it the other way around. The pressure of the plate pressing against this is going to keep the plates stuck in place. Okay? Even if the bar's preloaded, okay, just change the clips around.
I thought it was a piss take when I read that.
No, genuinely works. Some people use that as a strategic rest. So, oh, my plates have moved. They haven't, pal, you just blown out your ass. But yeah, so loading it around the other way, the pressure of the plate will keep it in close. Okay? Hang on. Positioning of kit. So if you've got the ability to move certain bits of kit around, awesome. Position it in a place where there's minimal movement or transition time between workouts. So if you've got, for Battle for the Midlands, everything's going to be placed where it needs to be. But making sure that when you come back to a set of dumbbells, they're placed nice and neatly together, rather than one being strewn over there, one being there, because you've gone, thrusters suck. Throw it down, and they're back there. So make sure they're placed together. When you come